Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome back for another episode of E2KGn30, our weekly news podcast covering large chunks of news across the gaming sphere, the industry, the culture, new releases, all sorts of stuff. Brought to you in 30 minutes or less, or as quickly as we can get it to you. So joining me tonight, it is the other bearded one from our network, Mr. Osiris Prime. How you doing, Prime?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Cool. So let's go ahead and get right to it and chunk out the stuff that is in the news blender. Probably you're up first with a informative story about E3 press conferences.
Yeah, so EA, I think it was at the beginning of the week, or maybe even late last week, they had dropped their day and time for their E3 press conference. So I figured we'd go through. There's a few, there's like 3 of the companies so far that have stamped their date there for E3. So EA, E3's press conference is going to be on Saturday, June 9th at 2 p.m. Eastern, and that'll be 11 a.m. Pacific and 1 o'clock Central, which would be for me. And then their big EA Play event, which is their public event, will actually be through June 9th through the 11th, June 11th, where you can go and play all their games that they're going to announce that day and throughout the E3 event. Then we have Bethesda, who is on Sunday, June 10th at 6:30 Pacific time, 9:30 Eastern and 8:30 Central. So we'll hear from Bethesda and see what they got going, which I always thought was kind of weird. Microsoft will be going Sunday also on the 10th at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 Eastern, 3 o'clock Central time. So we got those 3 so far, and hopefully we'll hear for some more in the future. So up next, it looks like we have some Fortnite issues, possibly, maybe?
Yeah, so I caught this news earlier today over on PC Gamer, and at the time, the article was named, Fortnite remains offline because of database trouble, no ETA on its return. However, as of very recently ago, the article is now titled, Fortnite is back, but 50v50 is delayed. Epic says sorry with some free stuff. So Fortnite was down earlier today, and apparently from a bit of scrambling. The header of the article now reads, Update, Epic has sounded the all clear on Fortnite, but the 50v50 limited time mode that was meant to be live today has been pushed back to next week. As a way of apology for all the trouble, the studio will hand out some freebies to players. A free troll stash llama in Save the World, and a back bling gift in Battle Royale this weekend. And then next week, a pack of Battle Stars for Battle Royale players and seasonal gold for Save the World players. A detailed postmortem of what went wrong and how Epic will hopefully avoid this kind of show in the future is also on the way. All of that sounded like Klingon to me. Prime, you're up next with the news about the Xbox One backwards compatibility releases from this week.
Yes, so I have back compat and OG back compat, and then some enhancements that are coming for the Xbox One X. And I'll just give a couple of games real quick here. For the enhanced games, these are coming from the 360. We got Portal 2, Gears of War 2, and some others we'll talk about here in a minute. And then as far as the OG original Xbox, I'll just give a couple here. We have Morrowind, which I'm excited for, and Jade Empire, and a few others here that we'll talk about. Looks like we have some more gaming content coming up for Destiny 2, it looks like. Maybe?
Yes, sorry. We're going so fast that I missed the kick to me. Great Scott, where am I? Over on Rock, Paper, Shotgun, earlier this week, was reported Warmind is Destiny 2's second expansion out on the 8th of May. This person wrote in the first person, which janks me up. So the top of the article reads, I keep saying I'll return to Destiny 2 in posts like this one, that author being Mr. Matt Cox over on Rock, Paper, Shotgun. Then reneging on that. For realsies, though, this time I will. Bungie have let loose the name and date for the second expansion for Destiny 2. It's called Warmind, and you can start shooting at it on May 8th. Those are the only details we're getting for now, though in non-expansion related news, Bungie have another development roadmap for your eyeballs. Season 3 kicks off with the expansion and adds private matches to the Crucible. Season 4 starts in September when Bungie says they'll start toying around with randomized weapons. Are we back to more news about other no, well, we'll get back around to some Xbox enhanced and backwards compatibility news. But first, let's talk a little bit about one of 2017's gems, Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Yes, so Ghost Recon Wildlands will be doing a little crossover, a little comic book action kind of a deal here with Splinter Cell. So we'll have a little bit of Sam Fisher coming to the game with the original voice actor, Mr. Michael Ironside. So I think that's pretty exciting for a lot of people. I think he was he played by Keith or Sutherland maybe in the last game or a couple of games ago? I forgot. I know that the voice actor had changed, but I know a lot of people were upset about that. Excuse me. I think for Blacklist, I believe, was the last full game. This will be just kind of a mission you'll be able to play with Sam Fisher, and there'll be some extra content that you'll get in game for like just aesthetic stuff. So you get the little goggles, the night vision goggles, and some gun skins and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. I thought that was pretty interesting. Maybe more to come on Splinter Cell. We'll see. But let's head over back to Xbox Land, Xbox support for another enhanced game that we're going to be talking about here.
Yeah, so just to prove that Prime is not the only one who gets to report on Xbox around these here parts, Red Dead Redemption gets its first big graphics improvement with new Xbox One X support. This is from a post over on Games Radar. 6 new 360 games are getting X enhancements, and 19 more original Xbox games are coming too. Red Dead Redemption will get its first significant visual upgrade when a new slate of Xbox One X enhancements roll out for backwards compatible games. Those being the aforementioned ones that Prime included in the rundown for us earlier this segment. Microsoft revealed in a new episode of the company's official Inside Xbox program that a set of 6 games received new features for the 4K ready console today, while also confirming that a fresh selection of original Xbox games are on the way to Xbox One backwards compatibility. But the real specific news here is about Red Dead Redemption. Since Red Dead Redemption only ever came out on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, it never got the benefit of next-gen graphics or the scads of unofficial visual improvement mods that are available for other Rockstar games like GTA 4 and GTA 5 on PC. Exploring the Old West again with improved visuals on Xbox One X sounds like a nice way to pass the time until Red Dead Redemption 2 arrives this fall. And that's going to do it for all the news stories that we have in the news blender. Let's skip the doodaloo on over to the discussion segment. So Prime, did you play Ghost Recon Wildlands?
Just like the beta when they had it, whenever like a month or two before it came out.
Okay, so I mean, why did this particular news story catch your eye? Was it because is it more so an affinity for Splinter Cell than Ghost Recon Wildlands?
I think it was more just because it was just 2 major brands coming together, which I don't know if we've really seen before. I guess they kind of had what was that RTS they kind of had back in the day, a few years back? I can't remember. Ubisoft had done, and I think there was they kind of mixed, Ghost Recon and Splinter Cells and some of the other properties kind of together. I forgot, Future War or something like that. I can't remember what it was. I think they kind of blended stuff together there, but that was like big overview map, RTS style. And this is it's only a single mission, yeah, but still I thought it was kind of cool. Kind of those, we're both kind of comic book guys. You get those crossovers in comics, where it's kind of a big deal. They kind of make of it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I know Ghost Recon has had some pretty good DLC. They had the Predator one. They've had other just DLC coming out, these last few months and actually past year. So I just thought it was kind of a cool thing that they're going to do this. And like I said, maybe it's pointing to, some more Splinter Cell stuff coming out, maybe E3, like a full game or something. So they're just kind of wetting people's whistles with this announcement.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that has been brought up. A lot of people are clamoring for another Splinter Cell iteration because it's been quite some time and it's a beloved franchise. The thing that's most interesting to me is, gotta hand it to Ubisoft, and I've written with kind of about a hat tip to Ubisoft this week. Have yet to post it, but in my perusings of Far Cry 5, which we discussed on the Enough to Keep Going discussion show earlier this week. Please check that out on the channel. Plug. So, and I'm really impressed by Far Cry 5, particularly because I'm a person who has stayed away from that franchise really since the first chapter, right? Really since the original, which was done by Crytek. This Far Cry has brought me back, and I also played Assassin's Creed, which was probably, I mean, so Assassin's Creed Origins last holiday season and Far Cry 5 now have been two of the games that have really hooked me, you know, I don't know, I mean, close to what Destiny has done. And it's really impressive. What's really impressive to me is I'm starting to maybe think, I'll qualify this as a nascent thought, and then maybe we'll pick at it some more and talk about it on a later show. But I'm starting to think that Ubisoft is able to stake a claim to being the most persistent, tenacious of the big publishers, right? With properties, right? They plugged away at Rainbow Six Siege. I didn't think Ghost Recon Wildlands was that big of a hit last year. Lots of Ubisoft games land with a lot of fanfare right before they drop, and then all goes silent shortly thereafter. So from my perspective, I question why you would invest in bringing Sam Fisher to Ghost Recon Wildlands, but that seems to not be part of Ubisoft's criteria. So once again, good on them for just doing something for the love of game and for the fans, and putting something in there for the people that are playing it.
Yeah, I wonder if this is, like I said, it's just a single mission, and maybe this will kind of lead into his next game. I mean, I can kind of see that. Maybe it's just kind of weird. It's just one mission. It's not, it's not like a whole DLC pack or expansion or anything. So just a little weird, I guess, kind of a thing too, that they do something like this. And yeah, Ubisoft's been pretty good lately. Yeah, I think probably Assassin's Creed is probably like their biggest hit, and that like you said, it dropped, but this actually kept going, and you keep hearing people talk about it. So, and kind of the other ones like Wildlands and what was that fighting one? Oh, man, I'm blanking on everything tonight. I can't remember what the kind of the fighting game one is, where you just hit a few times and you can kill the guy. But that one kind of was like built up and it came out and it was like, okay, it's kind of good. But then they've kept iterating on it. So
are you talking about For Honor?
For Honor, yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So another thing that I find curious about this whole thing is probably a thought that I just lost. So no. It also there's a question that is often begged, which is, why in the world is the Tom Clancy stuff not in a shared universe? Right. So this would be an absolutely awesome time to take Rainbow Six, Ghost Recon, and Splinter Cell. I guess Splinter Cell is technically not Splinter Cell is not Splinter Cell is Tom Clancy branded. Yeah. So
it used to be. I don't know if it still is.
Yeah. So I mean, what an awesome thing to pull off after the huge success of Rainbow Six Siege. So let's talk about these Xbox One enhanced games and backwards compatibility that dropped this week. I never played Red Dead. That's why I included that one in the rundown, because it creates. We have this argument that always flares up of, why is somebody doing a remaster? Everybody's already played that game. Nobody wants to play it again, which I always think is the worst sort of ego, because of course there are tons of people who want to play a game again, or who, for me, didn't play it the last time around. So
well, can I break in real quick?
Yeah, right here.
They say that until it comes to a game that they like, and then they're like, oh yeah, I want to I want
Right.
to play that. That's the whole thing I always find funny, especially on the podcast that I listen to. They're like, hey, yeah, this is garbage, and and this this is dumb. Oh, but I want to see Mass Effect redone or something like that. So
right.
I just find it funny.
So anything on the list that specifically that you saw that you're interested in coming around and to either get into the first time around or the second time around?
As far as the enhanced ones, yeah, I definitely want to get back into Red Dead. I did actually start it, and I probably got like maybe a third of the way into. But yeah, I'd like to go back and that was a beautiful game even back on the 360. So it's going to be interesting to see what the enhancements are going to bring. And then Darksiders, once again, I started it. I only played a really small bit of Darksiders, so I'd like to get back into that. And I'm pretty sure I still have the disc.
Now you're a big Skyrim fan. Are you planning on going back to check out Elder Scrolls?
Yes, the OG one. Yeah, for the OG games. Yeah, I definitely want to go back and play Morrowind. Supposedly, that's like out of the 3 that have been released: Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim. I guess that's like the I don't want to say the best, but I guess it had like a lot more stuff in it, and you could do a lot more things. I think it was more RPG-y, for a lack of a better word.
Yeah, that's definitely got to be a matter of personal taste. Morrowind was actually the game that turned me off of the Elder Scrolls series.
There you go.
I didn't get near Oblivion with a 10-foot pole because like Morrowind to me was just like hours and hours of walking around. So no, but it'll be interesting. I know people are fans of it. I'm personally planning on. So I had SSX3 on the. I had a number of SSX games both on the PlayStation 2, and then I think I had one variant on the original Xbox. I played those games a ton, so I would love to check those out. Even if I don't think that one's enhanced. And of course, Panzer Dragoon is tightly woven into my DNA, coming from the Sega system where that game originally appeared. That the first game of that franchise originally appeared. In fact, it was when I bought my Sega Saturn, and I reference this story a lot, but when I bought my Sega Saturn, watching the introductory sequence of the original Panzer Dragoon on a 32-bit system, that was the game that actually caused me to put the controller down, stop what I was doing, pick up the phone and call my brother and tell him that 32-bit makes 16-bit look like Pong. So anything else in the enhanced or non-enhanced list that you're looking to get into?
Yeah, on the original one, I definitely want to play Jade Empire, because that was supposed to be a really good Bioware game back in the day. Maybe KOTOR 2, Knights of the Old Republic 2. I still haven't played the first one, so I want to try to get back. And I don't know if the first one's back compatible. I'm assuming it is, but I'll have to check back on that. And then Jedi Academy, because I really love that game. So it'd be interesting to see how it handles on the Xbox, just because when I played it originally, it was on the PC. So
yeah, so one of the few games that I've actually powered through and completed from beginning to end. And I think I played on the light side. One question, and I think they did do Knights of the Old Republic. I think they did that in earlier backwards compatibility release pack. I'm also looking forward to Republic Commando, which I still played today on PC, but I feel like it plays very clunky on PC because it's not smoothed out. Like, quite frankly, like today's modern GPUs and high-res monitors and all that are really like too fast for that game, and it's supposed to be a little more deliberate and not as twitchy. So I'm hoping they tune it in backwards compat. The really speculative question that I have that I wanted to ask you was, so part of this is Battlefront and Battlefront 2, and I'm assuming you know better than I do. Maybe DBQ knows, and I can ask him on Tuesday as well, but are they planning on putting multiplayer servers? Like, I don't know why you do Battlefront and Battlefront 2 if you're not going to set up multiplayer servers to support those.
Yeah, I was actually wondering that myself when I was watching. Watching the Inside Xbox, and they were showing these games. Excuse me, and they didn't mention anything like that. So I don't know. I would think they would. I mean, I know on the PC they've brought back up the servers on the PC side for those games, or at least for 2. I'm not sure about the first one. So maybe at least for 2 they can get those going. But yeah, it's just kind of weird. And I'm trying to think if there's any other. I think Jedi Academy had a multiplayer, at least on the PC it did, but that might have been a mod. I'm not really sure. I can't remember now because it's been so long ago. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they bring back those servers, and I'm assuming they're going to have to, because I don't remember exactly, because I think I only played 2, and that was like always at a friend's house. So I don't know if it actually had a single player game. So it would just be kind of weird if it didn't. I guess you're fighting bots. I suppose you could do that. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. And just one more thing on those original Xbox games, because I was watching that show. They actually they enhance them a little bit, I guess, at least graphically. They kind of clean it up so it's not as murky and muddy, like on a HD screen. So there is a little bit of enhancements on these original Xbox games. So there's that to look forward to also, at least graphically.
Yeah, so Destiny 2 releasing its second expansion. Much like writer Matt Cox, who wrote the article that we quoted at the top of the half hour. I played Destiny and Destiny 2. In fact, DBQ and I played some multiplayer OG Destiny on the PlayStation 4 earlier this week. I like that franchise. I'm again writing about Far Cry this week. I mentioned that Destiny 2, the Destiny franchise, to me just mechanically is a great feeling shooter. I don't still today. I still don't really care about the things people don't like from a community perspective. And it seems like this expansion is targeted at addressing some of the, vocally outspoken. There's a heavy emphasis on adding some content to Crucible matches. I never play Crucible still to this day. I think I played like once, but across Destiny and Destiny 2, maybe a total of 3 matches. I played some Crucible matches with a specific crew that I hang out with and play multiplayer with on PlayStation, but it's not my general bag. So good for everyone else. There's a mention of increasing weapons randomization to make things feel a little more unique. I never really needed or expected anything that much more from Destiny gun porn than kind of what we already had at the level in Borderlands. So I've always been satisfied with it because I'm not dumping 40 hours a week into one game, trying to eke out every rare combination of, color, attachments, perks, whatever associated with weapons. I know, Prime, you have yet to step into Destiny. This is yet another feather in the cap of the DLC. I think you've mentioned that, from lessons learned, kind of observing from the outside on OG Destiny, that there might be a point where there's enough DLC released and a sale where you get all of it at once that it might convince you to jump in. Is 2 expansions, gonna cause you to give that more consideration?
Maybe. If the price is right. We'll see. Actually, I've seen like the base game pretty low last like month or two. So I think it's like $25 or something like that, 26, something weird like that. But I don't know.
Well, and I really want to ask you: is it really the price in another game that doesn't appeal to you entirely, or is it more an issue of opportunity cost now these days that you are spending a large chunk of time playing PUBG? That's kind of your core gig.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the latter there, just because I'm just always playing PUBG right now, and I'm trying not to buy as many games as I was last year, especially with the Switch coming out. And it's a little bit better now on the Switch because we don't have as many big releases as we did last year, so it's a little bit easier. So I'm just kind of waiting and seeing.
Cool, very cool. So the next thing, when we wanted to talk about it in a little more detail, was the problems with Fortnite. Now, did you keep an eye on this? Because I think you've also mentioned that if you're going to supplement your PUBG play, Fortnite is a strong candidate, or are you already doing that?
Yeah, I do that every once in a while. I'll still jump back into Fortnite every so often, just to get some some a little different than PUBG. But I didn't really follow this too much today, so I didn't get a chance to.
Yeah, so I'm certainly not an expert on the sequence of events, but I guess they were in the midst of doing a content update, which would add some variations in gameplay. A special type of grenade and replays were implemented in a deployment last night, but there was a database failure, and apparently it was maybe a database that was associated with people's with the authorization and access framework, maybe the table of usernames and some of their associated credentials and account information that was causing the system to become flummoxed, and people were having problems logging in. So Epic took the game offline, and that problem persisted until through 11 a.m. this morning. So they took it offline last night. Excuse me, and it was still late this morning before they restored it. It looks like they may have gotten it back early to mid-afternoon. So it looks like about a 12-hour outage. So I'm sure SwissGuard might take a look at this as well, and I'm sure he would say the same thing. We all try to be understanding and sympathetic, but I I have a hard time understanding how you roll an update out into production and suffer a database failure that you don't have a backup or a copy or something of that you can't instantaneously restore or go through a rollback procedure. Now I know some of this newfangled DevOps processes and stuff say that, ideologically there are no rollbacks, that, if you deploy and something's bad, you just suffer and deal with it until you get it fixed. So I don't know if that was part of this formula. But yeah, it's a little, I fail to comprehend how something like this could occur that would lead to a 12-hour outage.
Yeah, you figured they'd have at least some kind of backup. I mean, at least, maybe a couple hours down, that's fine. But I mean, 12 hours, that's a pretty long one. Yeah. Just from my experience and, my job and, obviously it's different for everything. And maybe it's a little different because, this is, a huge game and all that. But it just seems like a huge downtime. But, it was what, 11 a.m. this morning, you said? Maybe so the kids are able to actually do some schoolwork now instead of playing Fortnite.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I can see that there may have been business reasons though. Like I said, DevOps, part of that philosophy is that you don't roll back. I can also see that there was a push maybe to get it fixed in prod before they would go into the weekend. And there may have been a fear that by the time you roll back, that didn't give you enough runway to figure out what the problem was and get it fixed. If you had to step back, to the test environment and try and do all that troubleshooting. So I don't know.
You got to test people. You got to test.
Right. So anything additional we need to talk about the E3 press conferences that you put? I was kind of putting the social media at the time. So can you don't need to go through the specific times, but do you have it written down in a way that you can just step through the sequence as far as, what order they're going to go in? I know EA is supposed to be like 11 o'clock Saturday morning.
Yeah, EA's first at 11 Pacific. Bethesda and Microsoft on Sunday.
Okay.
6:30 Pacific Bethesda, and then 1 o'clock for Microsoft. So far. Okay. That's all we got. That's all we know. Nothing for Sony or Nintendo yet. So I'm sure those will come out fairly soon. Yeah, Sony is generally the Monday, and then Nintendo, we usually do a Nintendo Direct on that Tuesday. Yeah. Yep. And then I guess Ubisoft too usually has theirs. So I think that's all. I think that's it. As far as like big conferences, and then obviously everybody else shows off their stuff during the week. So right. Well, Activision will do one also, right? Oh yeah. Does Activision have a what? I don't know, because I know they usually just show like Call of Duty and like they'll pick they'll pick like Microsoft or Sony or whatever to well, they definitely did, right? Because last what else? So they have, I guess it was EA who did who showed Anthem, who didn't show Anthem at their press conference, but showed it. Microsoft showed it at Microsoft's. Yeah, first. So, yeah. So, I mean, good. I mean, we knew they were going to have conferences. We knew they were going to have to be in a certain order. So yeah, it's good that the stuff is coming out, though. I'm particularly excited about E3 this year, and actually, the part of your story highlights what I want to see, because I'm coiling myself up to write this post on my own blog, which is, what I want to see most out of E3 this year is I want to see the publishers hold the focus of everyone's attention this year. So I'm much more interested to see what Ubisoft, EA, and Activision have planned, particularly in the wake of some of the things that like EA and others walked back last year, and see how they kind of poise themselves to recover for that at E3 2018. So we have discussed every news story that we had in the rundown. Anything else, Prime, that you need to mention before we get out of here? Nope. That's it for tonight. All right. So for everybody else, catch up with us on Tuesday night at the same time, roughly 9:15 p.m. Eastern, on the Enough to Keep Going weekly games talk show. That will be another discussion episode after we just wrapped up our gamer experience episode for
the first half of April, last Tuesday. That is posted both on our YouTube channel and also over on our SoundCloud feed. Tuesday night, I think, not settled, but I think we'll be talking a little more, expanding on last week's conversation about retro gaming versus newfangled stuff that we're looking at, such as virtual reality. So on behalf of Osiris Prime, myself, and the E2KG network, this has been Agasicles Stamas from Gearworks.com and the E2KG network channel on YouTube. That's going to do it for us for E2KGn30, episode 38 for the week ending 13 April 2018. Thanks so much for joining us, and we will see you guys again next week. We're out of here.